here. Welcome to the new video of watching Space Station 13 review.
Hey people, Seth here. Today, I'll be covering a very niche, very infamous, and very autistic game that everyone's asked me to cover since day one. A game where you and many other real, living people with questionable social intelligence play together on the worst space station in the universe, where aliens, shapeshifters, and traitors working for rival corporations are
Wait, this is real people playing together? MMORPG?
the least of your concern, where the greatest threat to your own existence are your own crew members. Hungry? Come to the station canteen, where the food is definitely poisoned. Injured? Head on down to medical, where half a medication has been relabeled as happy pills. Discouraged?
Happy pills?
You can try taking a painkiller instead, but it wasn't a painkiller,
It
was LSD. Having a bad trip? Don't worry, there's a security officer nearby to help, but he can't respond because he was murdered and replaced by a genetically modified monkey wearing his uniform. Hallucinating?
What?
Keep calm and focus on what's real. Unfortunately for you, the supermassive black hole expanding towards you is not a hallucination. It is, in fact, very
black hole?
real.
The emergency shuttle has been called.
Welcome to Space Station 13.
Okay,
Space
he
Station
sold
13
me.
has a very simple premise.
He sold me. Is this like a website video game or is this like a local console thing? You can play it. I don't recommend it. It's a step learning curve. Or you're calling me too stupid to play the game. Interesting. Wow.
Everyone has a job. Your objective? Do your best to delay the station's inevitable destruction, either at the hands of antagonists or at the hands of your own incompetent crew. Normally, I give a final score for a game at the end of a video. Not this time.
Why
Space
not?
Station 13, 10 out of 10, amazing.
10 out of 10?
Spectacular. Don't play it. If I'm being
Don't
perfectly
play it?
honest with you, Space Station 13 is a fantastic game, but I genuinely don't recommend you play
Why
it.
not?
Why? Because the engine it's running on is probably older than you.
How
because
old?
the interface is a convoluted mess, and only usable because me and every other autistic chimpanzee who plays this game has committed the hotkeys to muscle memory because of the insane time investment and commitment required for you to learn a single role, and because, to be perfectly honest, the servers can't handle all of you. At best, we can handle, like, 30 extra players before you grind the servers to a halt. For all these reasons, Space Station 13 always was and always will be a niche title. And
I
maybe
see.
that's for the best. But I can offer you something else. I've already killed your hopes and dreams of playing the game, so instead, let me share some stories of my wonderful experience with Space Station 13. These stories span several years and several different servers, the names of which will forever stay anonymous because I respect their privacy, and because I've received threats from some of the more colorful servers to not mention them by name, or else what's gonna happen if I don't comply? Are they gonna hire a Bitcoin assassin to run me over with his mobility scooter? Is he gonna stab me with his insulin pen?
I think they're gonna throw hot dogs through to your window.
I don't know, but between you and me, I hate having cum delivered to my mailbox and would prefer to keep it that way. Anyway.
Ew, what the fuck? That's why I will never get a fucking mailbox. People ship you cum?
I remember the first time playing Space Station very vividly. My friends told me to download it and hop on some shitty server. It had furries and erotic roleplay. More on that later.
ERP.
I entered around as an assistant. My job to give assistance and to get my hands burnt off trying to hack into places I don't have access to. As I'm screwing around with airlock wires, my friend comes running down the hallway, dragging someone's unconscious body.
Is that another like real person? All these people are real, right? There is no NPC here.
Frantically,
E-sex!
he tells me, Seth, quick, can you open this door? Sensing the urgency in his voice, I do. He throws the body inside and sprints away. The airlock closes.
Okay.
3 seconds later, something explodes. What the fuck was that? I ask.
What the-
Oh yeah, I fed him potassium and water pills. It takes a while to metabolize. My friend had just murdered a man in cold blood by turning his body into a living, ticking potassium bomb. As soon as the man's digestive juices cracked through the potassium tablet, it reacted violently with the water in his stomach and exploded, killing him from inside out. After such a horrific display of homicide, I realized,
painful.
hey, this game's pretty good.
What?
Fast forward a few weeks and I'm learning roles, calling shots, and ignoring every single rule of a server. I also ignored every single rule of medicine. I was a surgeon.
Did he get a monkey? Did he get a monkey?
Top of my class, destined to go where no licensed professional.
Did his monkey die? Or is the monkey him? I'm so confused. Why the monkey is on a wheelchair now?
Ever has. Also, my friend's girlfriend started playing with us. To put it bluntly, she wasn't very good, but she was very interested in progressing the medical field in any way possible. Cargo had just delivered us some complimentary pizza, as thanks for patching up their boys after they got a little too intimate with the xenomorphs on mining station. Brilliance flashed before my eyes. My pupils widened. I started physically sweating, because she said the words I've always dreamt of hearing. Please, turn me into a pizza. And so, I got to work. Nurse, get me my scalpel, tweezers, protractor, bone gel, and the rest of the unfinished pizza. One horrified clown watched in the operating theater as I cleanly hacked off and cauterized her hands and feet. I opened the pizza box and began attaching her new cheesy limbs. Help! Sec to surgery, the clown blurted out. He's turning her into a Papa John's. The head of medical stormed in with a host of security officers to detain me, but they were too late. Her hands and feet had already been replaced. Surprisingly, she could walk just fine on a pair of pizza feet, but her...
This is really possible, chat? She can be turned into a pizza? I got really good at handling slimes. He also got a monkey. He's okay, that's his pet monkey. Well, maybe I have poisoned entire alcohol supply, turning everyone into slimes. Is it roleplay? I don't know where this maybe is a role function in the game.
Her lack of opposable pizza thumbs meant that she couldn't really hold anything, let alone pick them up in the first place. However, her pizza hands did make for a convenient and portable source of nutrition.
Why not when she's hungry, she can chew on her finger?
Despite her numerous protests that she consented to the surgery, the head of medical demoted me on the spot and banned me from ever practicing medicine, claiming that you can't consent to being a pizza. I was thrown in jail for the rest of the round. Clearly, there was no appreciation for the arts on this station. So, many rounds later, me and my friends found a new purpose, cleaning up the server, one erotic furry roleplay at a time. Using telecommunications and meta-communications, I expertly pinpointed areas of high homosexual intent, namely...
Is he trying to ERP with a furry? What? It's a real function. You can attach anything to the limbs. Ooh, you can attach a stomp button to the man's leg. Ooh, interesting.
The dorm rooms and the showers. As two Khajiit-looking catmen meet privately with one another, they will inevitably start writing words such as, ooh, Mayak has a barbed prickly surprise for you, my friend. And, yes, not me with your thick Tajiran trunk. This is completely unacceptable. Once an act of high homosexual intent is in motion, several of our men would mobilize. As they groan, moan, and spit out hairballs on each other, a security officer would barge in, flashbang the feline fornicators, and tag team baton them into submission before another officer handcuffs them to the bed. On the other side of a contaminated dorm room, our team's atmospheric technician sets explosive C4 charges against the station glass. Quickly, we evacuate the biohazard exclusion zone and seal the airlocks. Romeo and Juliet barely have enough time to recover from the flashbang before the charges detonate, depressurizing the room and sucking their bodies out into the black vacuum of space. Another job well done. Many explosive...
They all end with death. Also, imagine ERP in this game. You have to madly, passionately be typing. It's just typing game with 16 pixels. It's like, what if my English sucks?
Of decompressions later, erotic roleplay was considered a real occupational hazard. The Tajiran cat boys got creative, started doing group sessions instead. But these were quickly crushed by my friend playing the best roboticist I've ever seen in my life. The airlock doors to their sodomy chamber were welded shut to prevent interruptions. So he drilled right through them with a gigantic combat mech. The air inside was heavy with a sickly sweet smell of wet fur balls and toxoplasmosis. The furries did...
But how does 16 people have ERP together with typing? What if I type faster than you? Be like, yeah, go slower. What? You mean type slower?
Didn't even have time to react before he started unloading shell after shell of flashbang grenades, and thus we all got banned. We paid the price, but to see half a server get flashbanged unconscious for 10 minutes straight, priceless. The server didn't last long anyway. The admin's mom shut it down as soon as she saw the electricity bill, so me and my friends went on to enrich other servers. I even got good at being a chemist. In other words, I always stole the syringe gun at the start of a round and filled it with lethal doses of chloral hydrate.
What's
for my own
chloral hydrate?
protection, of course. I also gave whatever chemical anyone requested, which gives me some moral ambiguity and 2 degrees of separation from any pranks or murders that took place as a result of said chemicals.
Fun.
If a clown asks for space lube, he's gonna get space lube.
Space
One time,
lube.
a clown managed to lube the entire
Wait, did he just grab lube? Is that what that thing is? Lube?
hallway outside of medical, all the way to departures. Now, departures is usually the place where the escape shuttle docks to get us out of our quickly burning
Space
heat of the
DD.
station. However, if there's no call for a shuttle, departures is completely empty, besides the airlock, which the clown had hacked open. Several
Nice.
people came running through medical, slipped on the space lube, and
Oh, no.
accelerated themselves face
no.
first into the infinite vacuum of
Oh
space.
my God, what a
Security
fucking
figured out it was
troll.
the clown, and in true security fashion, also slipped on the space lube. With most of the crew floating around dead in space, the station had to be evacuated. He was later banned from playing clown ever again. Several rounds later, I finally spawned as a traitor.
Mission specifications decrypted.
Did he say do you have brain damage? I see that. There's a version of this being made on Steam. Wait, I can play this on Steam? Is it free?
Welcome to the Syndicate.
And I had no idea what I was doing, but I wanted my first time to be special. Conveniently, an assistant comes in, bleeding all over,
Oh, no.
because he was probably trying to break into the armory without insulated gloves. His
Wow.
character sprite had maximum melanin and an afro. His roleplay friendly name was Madick, an idiot, but a useful idiot. There were no medical staff on hand except me, so I said, "Hey, I know a little bit of surgery. Let me fix you up." I put him under general anesthetic
He's gonna make him into a pizza.
and took out my Syndicate PDA. With this, I can discreetly teleport a few traitor items into my inventory
Pizza?
to help me achieve my objective,
Pizza.
which in this case was murdering the head of security. I ordered 2 sets of voice-activated explosives, which trigger upon hearing the recorded code phrase. I set this to the word most likely to be spoken by
Never mind, he's playing a bigger game.
this mentally retarded human being. Can you guess what that is? I surgically opened his ass and inserted the first of the explosives. Then I lodged the second one neatly inside his chest cavity. Closing them up, I took off the anesthetic and began to put my plan in action. I would arm this simple-minded moron with illegal weaponry with the hopes that security would detain him on possession charges. I gave him all the LSD, all the chloral hydrate syringes, and an entire spray bottle of space lube. I had expertly equipped him to be the ultimate griefing machine. Proud of my work, I gave him a hug and set him loose on the world. But just before he left medical, he turned around and we both exploded. My other times playing antagonist went about just as well. Once I started as the leader of a cult. Our objective was to seize control of the station and sacrifice our mortal bodies to summon a physical manifestation of our dark god. However, I wasn't very good at it, and neither were my servants. We found a nice, quiet, and most importantly, abandoned bar near the north end of the station, which we began redecorating with our own blood. You
Ew.
see, cultists need to learn a set of ancient words that's randomly generated every round. If you arrange them in the right order, you can perform different spells and rituals to advance your goals.
Ooh.
We didn't get far, because the most dangerous thing to an incompetent cult is a single crew member doing their job. The fucking janitor found us. We tried to negotiate, convince him that it's actually crayon and not blood
It's
all over the
crayon.
floor, but that didn't work.
It's tomato sauce.
So we tried to murder him instead. That didn't work either. He used his mop to slip us with soapy water and ran off to call security. As you can see, I'm not very proficient at being a traitor. More often, I find myself being abused by traitors. Some of the worst offenders in this regard are definitely wizards, since wizards have a bad tendency to sexually abuse me as well.
Huh?
Not too long ago, me and my friends played a round that was already in progress. As soon as we entered, we realized something was very wrong. An announcement played on the radio. Penis
Announcement?
inspection day is in effect.
Why? Why is that even a thing?
All crew members must report to Doc Johnson for their mandatory penis inspection. Doc Johnson was very clearly a
Is it a real thing in the game? You have to show. What if I don't have one?
wizard. I knew what was coming, and yet I resigned
I didn't have this in school. No.
myself to fate and went to medical reception. Doc Johnson was overjoyed to have new patients. He led me to a private room, asked me if I'm circumcised, and told me that I passed the inspection with flying colors. What a surprise, I thought. He's not actually gonna grief me. But I was wrong. As I turned away to leave, he blew off my ass magically. Hey,
What?
it's wizardry. I ain't gotta explain shit. Anyway, Doc Johnson is a terrible doctor. He left
Dude, why is there a wizard in a spaceship? Like, literally, dude, shouldn't you either go for that sci-fi, high technology game road or the magic knight and monster game road? What do you mean there's a fucking wizard in the spaceship?
left me bleeding on the floor as he took my ass cheeks and used them as a hat. Highly unprofessional, would not recommend. A round of Space Station 13 can be very intense.
He looks
At other
bald.
times, it can be very slow-paced and almost relaxing. If you're not a traitor and you don't have anything urgent to handle, you can always just roleplay and get comfy in a bar, while the piano plays anime songs and the jukebox plays whatever
There's anime in the space.
deep-fried ASMR bullshit people keep putting on. It's a very wholesome experience, and it helps you get emotionally invested with the other members of
What
your
the fuck?
crew, which are often nice people. However, security is often staffed by egotistical megalomaniacs acting out their most depraved power fantasies. They are often not nice people. As a result of their
that was a
inherent
claw.
propensity to be insane sociopaths, the rest of a crew will often rebel against their tyranny. In one such case, Cargo had declared independence. Security refused to recognize the independent station state
Okay, chat, I cannot play this game. I can't fucking read. There's too much word for me to fucking read.
of Cargonia, so they tried to barge their way in and arrest everyone involved, including me. But security was unprepared for the trap we had in store. One officer rushed into cargo bay and slipped on a banana peel straight into the conveyor
no.
belt waiting for him. He
Oh,
tried
no.
repeatedly to get back up, only to be tripped again by an ocean of banana peels on the conveyor belt, which looped around in a circle. Surrounding that circle was another circle, composed entirely of vending machines. The officer was also being brutally assaulted by several hundred cans of soda. The vending machines
feel
were
bad
hacked,
for
and
him.
as a result, they would continuously fire drinks at whoever is in the area. Each officer that slipped into the banana belt got smashed unconscious by a relentless stream of discount Dan soda. Trademark, all rights reserved. After extensive head trauma by our soda turrets, security reluctantly accepted Cargonia's independence and their right to bear arms. If there's one department that has more revolutions than Cargo, it would have to be science, and it's easy to understand why.
I don't know if you're reading this text messages. They're pretty wild, okay? There is also voice chat. Okay, maybe I can leave this that.
We spend our lives researching away for the good of the station, which does of course carry its own share of risks and hazards. Sometimes accidents happen. Sooner or later, some bored and mentally challenged assistant will try and put a bag of holding into
Bag of
another bag
holding.
of holding. And security can't always comprehend that we're not directly responsible for the resulting black hole eating through the kitchen.
Why is a random black hole spawned?
This lack of appreciation for the scientific profession usually ends with arrest warrants for the whole department, which is usually answered back with the words, "I'd like to see you try." But when we're not having a nuclear arms race with security, R&D is actually quite a chill department. I also made a great discovery last time I played there. Me and another scientist were messing around with blueprints and eventually made ourselves a pneumatic cannon. Normally, these are used to launch whatever items you have inside. What we didn't know was that it could launch food as well. I loaded a lasagna.
You can feed people lasagna. You can force people to eat lasagna. Oh my god, your RP as a priest that married two characters from different departments. You can marry here too? Can you make a baby?
Aimed for the mouth and fired it at my fellow researcher. The lasagna disappeared. What the hell? That's amazing,
What?
he
Who
said.
eat
We
it?
just realized what happened. I had just managed to remotely force feed my fellow
Oh my god, I guess they're right. He's gonna force feeding people now.
man. But what do we do with this forbidden knowledge? Nothing good, that's for sure. My comrade got to work asking chemistry for hallucinogenic drugs. They said no. So we built our own chemistry dispensers, filled up the beakers with happy juice, and ran straight to the kitchen. We injected all the donuts and hot pockets we could find with as much LSD and mind-breaker toxin as they could hold. Then we loaded them into our food delivery system and started firing off at everyone in the hallways. The food was instantly delivered. The crew was instantly satisfied.
He
Several
drugged the whole
people, including
population.
security officers, managed to see the 2 small lines of text indicating that they've just been fed something. They thought it was extremely clever and said they didn't know the pneumatic cannon could do that. Since it was just a bit of harmless fun, we got off scot-free. Minutes later, the hallucination started. Crew members started screaming on the radio. Some were puking, shaking, or convulsing on the ground. Medical couldn't keep up with the bodies. They piled on too quick, and most of the doctors were too busy fighting off non-existent.
Wait, actually 9 months? You need in-game time on 9 months or like real lifetime on 9 months? Game round arrow like in the game 45 minutes? You cannot survive for 35 minutes without killing each other? Are you telling me that? All the game die within 45 minutes?
Existent entities to do anything about it. The chemist who originally refused to give us LSD
killing each other in this game?
was arrested by security on suspicion of intentional food poisoning. It was complete pandemonium, and I think it illustrates perfectly the chaos that is Space Station 13.
Are they puking? Oh no!
That's all I have for you today, folks. There is, of course, more stories to tell, but we'd literally be here for hours. Space Station 13, a marvelous, unique, and incredibly shitty game.
This is so
10 out of 10,
fun.
don't play it.
I want to play it.
They're gonna blame it on me. And
Why not?
I hate having cum in my mailbox. As always, more content to come, so stay tuned. On other
more content to come.
for news, I started a Subscribestar account, so if you'd like to invest and don't want to give your money to Patreon, now you can.
Yeah,
a warm thanks to the many
Patreon.
members of the Merchants Guild, generously funding and bankrolling
we will
these
watch out
videos.
this.
You're all truly wonderful.
We gotta support the man, okay? The man made the video, we gotta support.
Have a good one.
All these good people!
21, 25.
Oh my god!
Also, thank you for inspiring me to continue my passion projects.
Oh my god! Thank you for the $200 donor! Holy shit! I sit up from my chair from that! Holy fuck! I don't know why my mouth just made a funny sound. Holy fuck! Because I was touching my face and squeezing it. Holy fuck! Thank you! Oh my god! Thank you for the $200 donor! I like this dude. Did I subscribe? I go subscribe. Subscribe and turn on the little bell.